The Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych has met opposition leaders in an attempt to defuse the escalating violence, which has seen 3 people killed in the past 24 hours. The deaths, 2 from bullet wounds, have further inflamed protesters who've clashed repeatedly with riot police in Kiev's Independence Square. Our Europe editor, Matt Fry, is there. Matt.
Well, John, I've just walked through Independence Square, and although you can't see it from your vantage position, I can tell you that there are tens of thousands of people in the square below me, a massive throng of ordinary people of Kiev and, of course, many of the hardcore demonstrators who've been involved in the protests over the months. The atmosphere there is one of sullen determination after a very dramatic day, while round the corner in the street in front of Parliament, where we've seen the running battles all day, the tires are still burning, and again a slightly smaller group of demonstrators is preparing for what could be another night of pitched battles. It has been, as I said, quite a interesting day, and I just warn you that there are some images in my piece that some people might find distressing.
Today is supposed to be Unity Day in the Ukraine, but only in the calendar. This is the sound of a country divided, bitterly and today tragically. Everyone is making a noise, and no one is listening. The Wolf of Kiev is ready for battle.
This is now the front line of this crisis. The mood is extremely tense. Just about an hour ago, 2 protesters were killed by the police using rubber bullets, and as you can see and hear, both sides are now spawning for a fight.
Time to get out of the way. They didn't. On the same street, in the demonstrators' makeshift hospital turned morgue, there are 2 dead men shot by the police, waiting for relatives to claim their bodies. These are the first fatalities of the battle for Kiev. They may not be the last. Outside, everyone is gearing up for round 2 with concentrated purpose. The barricades are being fortified. And so are the foot soldiers of this protest, catering courtesy of the revolution. And self-protection, courtesy of your imagination. There's an almost courtly ritual to these demonstrations and no age limit.
Is she afraid?
Ви боїтеся?
Ні. Ні.
But she should be. This is increasingly brutal stuff. And here's how it works. First, a barrage of rocks from the demonstrators. The answer? A barrage of stun grenades from the riot police. And then the guns. Shotguns firing these rounds. They always hurt. Sometimes they even kill. The riot police advance like a phalanx of legionnaires, moving like a millipede. And when they catch a demonstrator, they're merciless. The police finally take the entire street in front of Parliament.
We're okay here, we're okay, trust me.
Victory for the tribe in uniform. But minutes later, they walk away.
So all day long we've had running battles between the police and the protesters. The police have just taken this very piece of the square where I'm standing right now, only to retreat and let the protesters back in again. It's as if they haven't got the courage of their own convictions to basically storm this place and get rid of the protesters and the barricades once and for all. And of course the protesters just won't go away.
The demonstrators flood back, this time armed with burning tires. The battle lines go back and forth, and so do the country's leaders. Stalemate on the streets, paralysis in the palace. President Yanukovych met with opposition leaders this afternoon. In the middle, the towering figure of champion boxer turned politician Vitaly Klitschko. But the talks were fruitless, and the government is digging in its heels. We spoke to one leading presidential advisor.
I think that it's abnormal killing of demonstration, but we need a peaceful solution of this situation.
Unnormal? It's an outrage.
We need a peaceful solution of situation on Hrushevsky Street.
But it's not coming, is it? So far there's no sign of a peaceful solution.
I think that I believe that we have peaceful solution probably during this day or during tomorrow. I hope and I believe in peaceful solution.
Back at the barricades, the bonfire of uncertainties continues. There is panic amongst the demonstrators as rumors spread that police snipers are on the rooftops using live ammunition, and the authorities on their way with tanks to clear the teeming castle that is now the protest camp on Independence Square. Neither, as it turns out, is true. But half-truths flourish in the thick black fog of fear and loathing.
Matt, extraordinary pictures, and it's clearly becoming more violent. The Prime Minister calls the protesters terrorists. It's going to get worse, isn't it?
Well, there's nothing tonight, John, that makes me believe that it won't get worse if nothing changes dramatically on the political front. And so far, there are no signs that it will. And remember, of course, in this crisis, every action spawns a reaction. So, for instance, we heard that last night a body was found of a protester badly tortured and lifeless. The government said they have nothing to do with it. The protesters clearly blame the police. Then we had the Prime Minister calling the protesters terrorists. The Prime Minister, by the way, who was frozen out of the Davos conference today. What an insult to him. That might also spawn some sort of reaction. And then we have the continuing violence on the streets tonight. Cars being burnt, tires being burnt, the riot police still in formation to try and attack back. I mean, this is going to go on and on. And finally, the words of Vitaly Klitschko, who's fast becoming the most respected opposition leader, perhaps partly because he's never been in power himself, unlike some of the others who are slightly compromised. He has said very clearly, and this is a champion boxer speaking, I will take this fight to the police. I will lead the demonstrations. Even if it means taking a bullet in the head, I will do so. We will win this battle. So those are words that have inflamed the crowd behind me. John.